There's two questions that I think are the most fascinating to ask you, and this is the first. So, in the opening of Disunited Nations by Peter Zeihan, a book I'm sure you're very familiar with, he makes an homage to the importance and underrepresented importance of geography in understanding the modern world. And in your own book, you write in the introduction that politics is important, but geography is more important. And so, with books titled Prison of Geography, Power of Geography, can you take a few minutes to just think aloud about the geographical determinist worldview, which I'm sure you don't subscribe, but still there
No.
is a little bit of an undercurrent to it in your writing there, in that introduction?
Oh no, there is, and I am that in the respect of that. I think it is a determining factor, and this is something I find myself having to explain over and over again, and to a sometimes hostile approach. Because I'm not a geographic determinist, because that is someone who thinks that it's all baked in for the geography and there's nothing you can do about it. And I don't argue that. I argue that you are a prisoner of geography and that everything that a country does is within the confines of geography. Now, you can bend the prison bars. Ethiopia building its dam on the Blue Nile is bending the bars of the prison, allowing it to do something different with its geography to get hydropower, to free power to all the homes in the country, hopefully. But it's still doing it within the confines of geography. If it didn't have a great big bloody river, it wouldn't be able to do that. So my approach is I always start from looking at a country's geography, because I realise that within that there are certain things you can and can't do. And if you haven't got a great big bloody river, you can't build a hydro dam. And only then do I move on to the history of the country, which has been partially determined by those factors. Which direction do its rivers flow in? Where is the big mountain that defines its extent? And only then do I look at the current affairs. That's if I'm really trying to look at a situation. I mean, normally you just look at the current affairs. But what I'm arguing is if you don't understand that geography, you are mixing my metaphors or analogies. You can either look at it that you need these three tranches, which are all compatible with each other to understand, or from another direction, if you start with the foundation of geography and then build onto that your study of history and then the politics, you're on a firm footing. I mean, those are two different ways. But I find it hard to understand an argument that dismisses just how important the geography is. And I'm frequently asked, Ryan, oh, well, hasn't technology overcome geography? To which the answer is no. It's simply changed what is important about some aspects of geography. And even cyber does that. I was asked this the other day at a book festival I was giving a talk at. And I said, okay, cyber warfare, they said, does away with geography. I said, no, it doesn't. Two examples, and there are more, but two. Firstly, you are going to choose where you center your cyber attack on. And if you've chosen my capital city, you've chosen it because of its geography and its demography and its economic importance, that it's got this, that. You know, that is a geographic, you know, it's just because it's a cyber attack doesn't mean you haven't chosen the target for the attack based partially on geography the way you would if you were flying a missile at it. So you're still within the confines of geography. And then I said, by the way, when I find out where you did this from, I'm going to come there and kill you. So I have to find out geographically your location, then work out how I'm going to come there and kill you. You know, I mean, I deliberately use that provocative language because it kind of makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
But those were two examples of how cyber does not negate geography; it simply changes it.
I suppose I can simply, I mean, I'm sure you understand why someone might make that argument, why a cyber attack is negating geography. Although you do just explain a reason why geography still matters. But there is a big difference between, you know, Genghis Khan marching his Mongols through the Eurasian steppe versus, you know, him just being able to send a missile over the top. Like, that missile negates the long before geographical
Sure.
part. But I think you say perfectly, it sets the limitations, because I agree with you. It is kind of bizarre that one could argue for a totally geographical determinist worldview. You know, the idea that anyone could have landed in the eastern coast of the United States and turned it into the biggest economy in the world. Like, it's not true. They had all the right ingredients there, but you still need all the other factors, whether it's a huge stroke of luck and
The Saudis couldn't have done it because A, there was only X 100,000 of them in the 1700s or whatever, and B, there's hardly any trees in Saudi Arabia. So how the hell are you going to build a navy? Yeah. This isn't flippant. I mean, I'm reducing it, I accept, but it's not a flippant point.
Yeah.
Britain partially did that because there's loads of oak trees in Britain. Very hard wood, very good for building boats, by the way, ships. Honestly, much better than other woods. And we had a lot of oak trees. Is that genuinely a factor?
Yeah, for sure.
Cannonballs, I wouldn't say they bounce off them, but you sort of much better chance in a warship made of oak. And also if you've crashed into it. So so genuinely, Britain's oak trees were a factor in it having an empire, as was coal, which we also had a lot of.
Yeah, I think you still have it, right? It's just not worth digging up anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit mucky. Although I see that it hasn't prevented you from carrying on.
No,
your industry is declining as well.
You're right, and it's definitely a sore point in Australia as well. But it's kind of a just an ugly truth. I don't know, but it's just a kind of sad truth that I think a lot of Australians just do their best not to acknowledge. The fact that we do. The only reason we have such a high standard of living is because we are just giving ingredients to the rest of the world that's sort of ruining the environment,
And that's true of many of us.
Yeah, for sure.
We are trying to wean ourselves off it, and I think we will. But it's going to be slow and hard.
Yeah.
I mean, and also there you are, stuck where you are in the lucky country, 25 million of you. Loads and loads of coal just up the road. China wants to buy it.
You'd be pretty stupid to then get in the bad books of China, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah,